Day 5 and we were loving our safari, but another storm in the night robbed more precious hours of sleep.
Morning face, sorry about that. It's ridiculous o'clock in the morning. And
Up early, weren't we? And had a storm last night.
Lots
so
of storms last night, yeah. Lightning, thunder. Anyway, we're going for a bush walk this morning. There's not many people made it up early this morning, so
no, I think there's probably about, what's it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us. Probably.
Sleep deprivation catching people up. Anyway, I'll let you know how we get on.
This was a fascinating 2.5-hour guided walk with local guides explaining about how nature works in this part of the world, and it was brilliant, with our guides having a deep knowledge passed on through the generations.
We walked deep into the bush, stopping to learn about the plants and the insects, and the animals of course.
We did have a few sightings of animals as we trekked, but this wasn't the point of this activity. It was more to learn about nature and its many wonders.
Then back to the lodge for some much needed rest and relaxation, and we used the rest of the morning to catch up on some of the lost sleep.
Then a swim in the pool before lunch, and drying off in the sun afterwards, with a beer of course.
What's the plan for this afternoon, Si?
So a couple of hours baking by the pool, and it is really hot again. We're just going to go for a little stroll down to one of the other lodges here at the site here, just to go mooch and see what it's like.
So we took a short walk down to Lion Lodge, or what we thought was Lion Lodge, and we had to apologise for being somewhere where we shouldn't have been. Oops.
So we quickly found Lion Lodge after accidentally trespassing on somebody's private property. Mistake, sorry about that if you're watching. But Lion Lodge looks really nice. Looks like it's a resort for the German tourists which are here and they're having a lovely time. We've got a nice sort of balcony area that overlooks like a watering hole. And it seems like impala and other animals come down and sort of feed and drink water and stuff. It looks really, really nice. There's a museum just opposite as well, but that seems to be locked, so we can't seem to get in there. Maybe we need to ask about what the opening times are, so that'd be quite interesting if we can get in.
Then we walked a bit further, and what we thought was a museum was actually the owner's collection of stuffed animals and isn't open to visitors.
Remind me not to have any stuffing with my meal tonight.
Walking a bit further, we encountered some very mischievous vervet monkeys who were throwing fruit at us from the roadside verge and trees. Very cute though.
Then suddenly a large monitor lizard just strolled across in front of us, oblivious to our presence. But when it realised it was going to be on YouTube, it scarpered like it had just committed a burglary. Once back at Elephant Lodge, Saturday Premier League football was playing on the radio, and the boys in our party bonded over beers and goals, whilst the girls also bonded over shots and cocktails.
So what's the plan for tonight, guys?
Okay, we've had a pretty lazy afternoon. It's been really nice, and we're now going to a tribal evening, which is sounds really exciting. So
exciting! I think we're trying the local cuisine, so that should be nice.
And apparently, it's quite a show. Anyway, we'll show you as much as we can.
We took a short ride from the lodge to a recreated tribal complex before an introduction to the culture, practices, and beliefs of the local Tswani tribe. Some excellent local food was served, which was really tasty.
And the singing and dancing commenced, with the tribe performing over an hour of incredible songs, chants and dances. Take a look.
This was an amazing evening that we didn't want to end, but the storms were getting more intense and we had a 4 a.m. start in the morning.
We returned to our room just as the heavens opened, but we were buzzing with what we had just witnessed.
And we didn't sleep a wink.
Storms all night, got a lot of sleep, and we're up in the dark to go to Pilanesberg, and it's raining.
And the storms had raged all night and caused flooding in the bar and dining areas. Bleary-eyed, we got up at 4 a.m. to get ready for our 5 a.m. start, and our journey to Pilanesberg National Park.
The sun did rise and we boarded our minibus again for the 3-hour drive that lay ahead, but in a total surprise we were able to tick off one of the big 5 within a few miles of Sebatana, as we saw a male African elephant on the other side of the roadside fence, happily munching away on a tree.
We stopped and tried to capture his best side for Instagram. It was a long journey to Pilanesberg with a toilet and chocolate stop halfway. When we arrived, we transferred to a game drive bus and were briefed by our new guide Bernard.
As it is a national park, Pilanesberg is open to the public who can pay to drive through and spot wildlife. Bernard explained that his experience and radio comms with other guys would help us be more successful in the 3 hours that we had in this vast wilderness, and he wasn't wrong.
Soon after entering, we spotted elephants on the mountain tops, far away, but a reminder that we were in their home and natural habitat.
And then we stumbled on a white rhino, who was unflinching at our large bus and noise as he walked out of the bush and across the road in front of us.
Bernard was targeting the big 5, but could not drive past a mountain zebra, his favourite animal.
Then onwards, and Bernard got wind of a lion sighting, and we dashed to the suggested spot, which was nearby fortunately.
2 lions, a male and a female, were some distance away, sheltering under a tree. Clearly visible with binoculars, a good photo image was elusive without a powerful zoom lens, but we stayed a while and enjoyed this beautiful scene.
Leaving the lions behind, we progressed further into the park and encountered another male elephant who was just chilling on the mountainside. And we continued, and more elephants emerged from the bush, a lot more elephants in fact. And in a scene reminiscent of Dumbo, this herd was led by the matriarch. They were moving forward, munching trees as they go, and it was a truly wondrous spectacle.
Then further on we stopped at a hide, overlooking a watering hole, and this was the official place for a toilet stop too.
And afterwards we continued in search of more of the big 5, but instead we ticked off one of the little 5 when we spotted a leopard tortoise.
Then Bernard's radio went off, and Bernard then shouted, "Leopard, hold tight!" He put his foot to the floor, and the bus sped frantically across the park to a spot where a leopard had just been sighted. This was a total thrill ride, and we had to hold on to our seats and our hats.
But Bernard had done this perfectly and delivered us to the exact spot where a leopard was stalking across one of the many plains within the park. Said to be the hardest of the big 5 to see, this majestic creature is a true phenomenon, and we sat and watched it scan the area for its next meal.
We stayed a while, but more and more buses, jeeps and private cars were arriving at the scene. So we left and were all pleased that we had seen 4 of the big 5.
As we headed back to the park entrance, we stopped by a watering hole which was home to a family of hippos keeping cool in the water rather than risk the midday sun.
And it was sadly time to leave Pilanesberg, and we departed our bus thanking Bernard for being a brilliant guide.
Souvenirs were then bought at the craft market at the park entrance before we started our 3-hour journey back to Sebatana, and the journey was broken up with a meal at the Eagle Mountain Spur Diner. A bit like TGI Fridays, this menu of burgers, chicken and fish was very tasty, and the bill was picked up by Sebatana too.
Once back at Sebatana, we were exhausted and decided to grab some sleep before changing and getting ready for the evening. So how are you feeling, guys?
We've had an amazing day today at Pilanesberg, and we've seen 4 of the big 5. Absolutely incredible.
It was awesome, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Saw the leopard.
Oh yeah, brilliant day. Really long, really tiring. But a bit of a kit this afternoon.
Absolutely exhausted.
Definitely do with a bit more sleep.
Yeah.
They've just summoned us for dinner, so we're going to go and have a meal. I can't believe
Eat more food.
they've fed us so much. There's
They're
so much
definitely
food.
feeders.
I know. There's been first breakfast, second breakfast, lunch, afternoons. I mean, it's been it's so much food. Anyway, lovely day. And another meal tonight, and then we got a breakfast brunch in the morning, haven't we? Okay. Anyway,
Interesting.
stay tuned.
So that evening we had our first meal in the Boma, which was really pleasant. The whole group posed for pictures and the wine and chat flowed nicely before turning in for some good quality sleep.
Day 7 and a champagne brunch was on the cards. So why are you up early, Si?
Well, good morning. Amazingly, we've had a night without a storm, so some sleep. Fantastic. We're going out for a breakfast brunch this morning, and I think there's going to be some kind of competition between the various jeeps as well as we go out and do the drive this morning. And we've also got a game drive this afternoon, so looking forward to that. I thought I'd get up a little bit before everybody else and come and have my bran flakes. Anyway, join us for later.
And we were needing to be aboard our jeeps at 7 AM as we were first taking in another game drive on the Sebatana Private Reserve. This 3-hour drive took us to parts of the reserve that we hadn't previously visited, and giraffe, impala and kudu were good early morning sightings, and we were having loads of fun too.
There are not supposed to be the big five in Sebatana, but tracks spotted by our guide clearly showed leopards are roaming in the reserve. So Si and Jamie, why on earth are you out of the jeep and roaming the bush?
So we're off hunting for stuff to make a hat with in the bush. What you found, Jamie?
Well, I found something here that I'm not quite sure. I thought I could use it for padding because the guys seem to be getting on really well, but as per usual, the ladies have stepped up to the plate immensely, so they're very art and crafty. But everything I keep finding is breaking. But these things look like padding. I'm not sure what it is.
All right.
I'll probably find out it's poisonous. But
what you're planning?
well, what I'm planning is that once the girls have made the frame, this can fill out the frame.
Okay, cool.
So, and we've got some nice flowers that will look nice.
Yeah.
And we've got a head that we can use. Adam has volunteered his small head apparently.
Cool.
So this is what we're doing.
So there's a competition.
There is a competition.
Yeah, which of the 3 jeeps can make the best hat?
Exactly, and it seems that Colin may be quite competitive because he does seem to be helping us quite a bit.
He does. Cheers.
Superstar.
So this morning's drive had a twist, as our guide Colin explained that at the champagne brunch at 10 AM we were going to have to present some form of hat that was made solely from materials and plants gathered from the bush, and that we would be in competition with the other jeeps. So as we drove, we spotted plants and materials that could be used, and we learned these on our bushwalk earlier on in the week. So we also collected flowers and foliage and other things to make the hat look really pretty. Then we parked up and set to work building our crown.
What are you doing?
Well, we've got this bit as a base, and then we're using a special string from one of the plants, the bark, to tie bits and pieces on. And we're going to get the bamboo and we're going to curve it over that way and that way to make a bit more of a hat. And then we're going to tie some flowers on.
What are you guys doing? You shredding bamboo?
Shredding bamboo.
Awesome. Ali, that big cane, is that if Jamie's naughty?
Well,
Each member of the jeep had a role to play in making our crown that would eventually adorn Adam's head, and Donna created a story to go with it.
Once our crown was made, we proceeded to an absolutely stunning location, where we were greeted by the Sebatana staff serving champagne. Champagne for breakfast.
Thank you very much. Nice champagne. Cheers.
This veranda set on a rock high above the reserve provided jaw-dropping views, and with a feeding area immediately below, wildlife spottings were frequent.
Zebra, warthog and vervet monkeys were frequent visitors, with one monkey brazen enough to attempt to steal breakfast, which was a selection of salads served with a warthog sausage and burgers. Very tasty.
The hats and crowns of each jeep were presented, and each were works of art crafted from branches and plants gathered from the reserve, and members of the Sebatana staff were the judges of the competition, and they selected a worthy winner.
This had been a really fun morning, and the whole group had really bonded with laughs and jokes aplenty, and the champagne had flowed nicely.
Then back to the lodge for a swim and some much needed lounging in the sun. And at 4 PM we were again summoned for another game drive in the Sebatana Reserve, and our guide was determined to try and find animals we had not yet seen on the reserve. We spent a while looking for ostrich and leopards, but sadly were unsuccessful. But we did get one of the more incredible experiences of the whole holiday, when a large male crocodile decided to leave his watering hole and come and pay us a visit in our jeep.
This amazing, if somewhat frightening experience had us all gasping in wonder at how close this killer crocodile was to us all. It was literally 3 feet away from Si, who was the closest to it, and quickly became the jeep's nominated crocodile packed lunch option. We sat still taking photos as he sat there clearly curious about our intentions. Mother and baby crocs were of course nearby, and maybe he was doing what any good dad would do. After several minutes, we slowly crept away from this incredible scene.
Just had a very close encounter with a crocodile, came right out of the
I
water,
know.
right up to the side of the jeep.
How awesome was that?
And very scary. Scary indeed.
It was brilliant though.
Amazing. Absolutely
Yeah.
amazing.
On we went across the reserve, and we made our way to a hide called Christina's Wallow. Overlooking a feeding area, we sat quietly as herds of impala came to graze, and the sun was beginning to set. Another beautiful setting.
Then a final attempt to find the elusive leopard and ostrich, but sadly no joy. but the sunset really added something special to this day.
Back at the lodge, our guide summoned us to the boma and served us local shots and spirits, which shall we say were somewhat warming.
Then we sat and enjoyed a lovely pork belly meal. One member of the group had her birthday, and the chefs paraded out with a lovely red velvet birthday cake too. Another amazing day at Sebatana was coming to an end, and we retired to bed.
We lay in bed exhausted, but so happy we had come to Sebatana. This really had been a fun week, and we wondered how tomorrow's final day could top all the amazing experiences that we'd already enjoyed.
If you want to see more of our adventures, please like and subscribe.